Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Well, this turned out to be quite a weekend of movie viewing because initially this episode was just going to be solely focused on Barbie. But
I like how you say Barbie.
Barbie. But we had some time to put aside
3 hours time.
yeah, to go to see Oppenheimer. So we thought, I thought we'd jump on the craze, the hype that's going around at the moment with Barbenheimer.
I'm going to struggle with Oppenheimer for some reason I can't say it. So I don't know what I'm going to call it, but
Oppie.
Oppie. I don't know why I don't know how to say it. It's just the words aren't there. Barbie, I'm fine.
It's a long title.
Yeah, it is. I feel like RP sounds better.
Right, okay.
Not rest in peace, by the way.
Before we get into things, obviously, I'll mention later on when we get to Barbie, because we're doing these two bits in separate chunks, but there will be spoilers ahead, so just going in.
We're going to try and do more of our journey and our experience and how we felt and then not spoil too much.
No,
not going to tell you beat for beat, so don't worry if you...
No, nothing like that, but obviously we'll kind of give our initial thoughts on the film and then go, right, this is the spoiler section when we feel like we need to be talking about that, so... Yeah, same for Barbie when we get to it, but we're going to start with Oppenheimer.
And I'm not going to say what film we're watching, I'm just going to say the film.
Just say Oppie. Yeah.
Oppie,
yeah.
So first of all, it's 3 hours long, people. If you've got 3 hours and you don't have much going on in your life, go watch it. Because it's 3 hours of your life. And when you're a very busy person and you've got better things to do than to get a numb bum in the cinema, I would suggest to not use those 3 hours like I did.
Well, that gives you an indication of Sophie's thoughts on it.
I don't know, I'm a bit disappointed.
Truth be told, I'll be transparent and say I am a bit as well, considering the big hype. I think the main reason it's Barbenheimer is because they're released on the same day. Right. And it's like one of those rare, I guess, cinematic events where it's kind of bigged up to such a level that it's like, oh my god, let's do a double, I
didn't even know this film was coming out. I know this sounds awful of me to say. I wasn't aware. I knew Barbie was coming out. I was aware of that from a long time ago.
No, but for a long time, again, that was been obviously circulating in the movie industry and stuff this is coming out. But I never really knew what it was about, ignorantly, I suppose.
No, I'm the same.
Of what Oppenheimer meant, really. And the film itself is really more like I'd say class it as a biopic of Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
J. Robert Oppenheimer.
There is some brilliant cast, there is.
There's loads of people. I'm going through the film going, oh, well, obviously they got the main lead, but even the side characters, there's him from that film.
There's Robert Downey Jr., there's Emily Blunt. I think I have a female crush on her.
Yeah?
Yeah, she would be the one.
Okay.
She's just beautiful. And she plays an American accent, which is quite weird because she's very British.
Yeah, to be honest, with her, I've always seen her in the films and she's always just stuck to the British accent.
She's amazing in Mary Poppins, and obviously you need her practically perfect in every way, and she is.
For that. I can't really think of her another film where she's put on an American accent.
I can't actually.
I always thought she was. She's not particularly great, but to be fair, in this, she did a good job.
She doesn't falter. It's literally she's American, but it's in a posh American, an elite kind of. But I wonder if she's. I forgot his name. I always call him Jim from The Office.
John Krasinski.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and obviously he's American and they're married.
Yeah,
so it's I wonder if she's oh, how do you say this word, or how do you interpret what
picking up more of that from him. Yeah, Maybe, I don't know.
Obviously, we've got Robert Downey Jr., which, bless my mum's soul, she was like, oh, I want to go see this film. It's got Robert Downey Jr. as the lead. And I was like, I don't think he's the lead.
He does play a fair big part, but that's more of the back end, really. But he plays Louis Strauss.
He's very good.
Because, again, make me think, oh, it's pronounced such and such, but I can't really, I'll just go Strauss.
He does look like he's aged. I don't know if they were trying to make him look older than he is, or he's just actually aged.
I think he has a little bit, but probably also a little bit more of that as well, because he made him look like an older man. But obviously, I'm thinking, like, you haven't seen him in many of the films because he's been so tied in with, obviously, the Marvel.
Yeah, and I think that's why he wanted to step away,
yeah,
isn't it?
because I was going through it thinking, like, I haven't seen him in such a long time, and, like, how good of an actor he is.
He is amazing. Because,
obviously, he's been pigeonholed in as Iron Man for such a long time, and I think that's why, I'm back to Infinity War, again, like, how a lot of those actors went, right, that's it, I'm done, and then the contract's up, I want to do other stuff now.
Yeah, it must get boring and stifling.
Yeah.
Have you seen Only You?
Don't think so.
I don't know if it is actually like his first debut or, however, it's the first film I've seen him in.
I think his first, or one of his first, if not his first, is, remember when we watched that film called Weird Science, and he was quite young in that, and it was the... Yeah,
I think he's like that, near enough that young in Only You. He's baby face.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know which came first,
but my mum absolutely loves him to bits.
Yeah.
But I don't think she'd want to sit and watch a 3-hour film of this. It's a history lesson. If you want a history lesson and a science lesson for 3 hours without a break, then it's the film for you.
If you're interested in those kind of two things, then great.
The history side of things, just because we're such Japanese lovers, it's a bit bittersweet that the atomic bomb landed in... I always say Hiroshima, and I think I must say it wrong.
Hiroshima. It's again another pronunciation
because
thing,
Robert Downey Jr. says it weird in this film for me. I'm like, huh? I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
No, I think, don't worry too much.
We went to the Peace Memorial, though, while we were there.
Yeah.
And it was hard. Like, even though I didn't have any connection, I didn't have any family that had passed there, I felt it still being so raw for the Japanese. And I feel like this film is very Americanized. It's very driven towards that.
It did kind of think that it was going to go that way, to be honest. I didn't know how much they were going to show regarding that, but it wasn't very much, which I suppose in a way was kind of good because you don't want to be a super killjoy on what it is, but it's like, just show it a little bit more.
Compassionate, not like, yay! I know they would have been celebrating when the war ended and they would have feel like they've been victorious as Americans, like, because they created this bomb. But I just feel like as a Japanese person watching that, I don't know if that would sit very well.
I think, I haven't seen Pearl Harbor, the film, but I think that's probably the same kind of way, again, more Americanized. And there's been, I think there's a few other films that kind of do that. It's like, oh, America, yeah.
If anything, they've made the world's worst thing.
Yeah, but which is obviously what's about, like, the fact that it's a bit late in the day, but, like, yes, nuclear weapons are bad. We should not make another atomic bomb.
But there is still bombs out there that are ready to blow up the whole world whenever somebody wants to press a button. Basically, they're available. And I think Oppenheimer is brilliant in a sense because he's a fantastic scientist, he's a fantastic theory person, a brilliant brain, but it shows how scary your brain can be with what theories you can come up with and how detrimental they are. And I think it shows the guilt of him throughout. Does it need to be 3 hours long? Does it hell? No. No,
even I would say that going through it, I think more the back end was like, okay, it's dragging a bit now.
I was struggling, I won't lie. I was like, is this going to end? At one point I was like, okay, kind of somewhat spoilers.
Yeah, well, should we go into spoilers now, I think?
I guess somewhat I'm going to say he's going to spoil it, but I don't think it is. It shows you them creating the bomb, which you're going to, you assume that's what's going to happen.
History,
You show them testing the bomb, you show that they then go, oh yeah, we've made a successful bomb. And you're like, oh, well, it should be coming to a conclusion now. of the bombs being successful. That's the film, basically.
You mean when they drop it in Hiroshima? Or that first test?
Both,
bit?
and then you think, oh, well, we're near enough wrapping up by the time that they tested it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see the Hiroshima side effect and everything like that.
Well, you don't even really see that. He's kind of like on the radio, and it's like...
It's more Oppenheimer where he sees the whole kind of place turning into dust. It's his guilt, isn't it? That he's visualising, because he's a theoretically person.
Yeah.
He's like visualising what
is going on,
impact this has. And then you think, okay, yeah, tie it up in a box, wrap it in a bow, done. No, it's not.
Still rolling. Yeah.
Still going, and you're like, flipping hell. I found it really hard at the back end, and some people really appreciate the dialogue, the context. There's so many characters involved in this, it's untrue.
They're probably all really relevant, obviously, to explain. That's probably why the film is so long, because it's like, he probably want Christopher Nolan, who probably actually want to get his, maybe I say accurate as possible. I can't speak for like, if every beat of that is like, yeah, that's totally accurate, that's what they said, or the records show that, I think. But I think he probably did his research on
I can imagine he did, but does it need to be for beat of whatever? And the back end just seems like a drama. It seems
like a courtroom drama, yeah. And it's just like...
It's lost on me. Sadly, it is. Because I'm like, who's that person? Oh, I think I remember him speaking to him prior. It's just way too much information overload. Some people will love it and think it's absolutely fantastic.
I know you haven't seen House of Cards, but I feel like it's that kind of level of like, political back and forth kind of thing, and just...
I'm like, but then...
Even it's going over my head a little bit. I'm trying to retain the information. Like, I go, I'm trying to, as if like I'm trying to understand this, but at the end of it, I'm still going like, oh, okay. So at the end, long and short of it is, the American, whatever, the cabinet, whatever, this kind of the secret, like, no reporters or everything, they're trying to say, like, Oppenheimer, you were the one who... instigated thing. Did you feel, were you have moral objection to this, and trying to pin it on him?
It's not
at the
his
end, it's like,
fault.
well, like, but
somebody asked, "Can you create a bomb that can do whatever?" He said, "Yes, I can."
And they're like, great, yeah, you make this bomb for us. And then they're trying to deny the fact that it's like, this was all bad because we didn't think the radiation was going to affect people, in the aftermath.
They didn't ask him about that, did they? They didn't ask him to think about the aftermath. All they wanted was to end the war, and that's what he kind of did with that bomb. As awful as it is, that's what it was, like, to show, like, the Japanese. It annoys me that it wasn't... I'm sorry, people, if you are German, but, like, the reason they wanted to build it, I understand initially.
To like a race to get to... for Hitler to...
and Hitler, yes, he needs that bomb kind of on him, and that pressure. But... Japan, I don't know. I don't know the history behind it too much, but I feel like they're very, unless after this now they are very peaceful people. I feel like they wouldn't have wanted that. They would have compromised. I would have thought.
No, I would have thought so, but I guess I'm again showing my ignorance on things, because I thought I didn't realise as I was going through the film that they said, oh, Hitler surrendered or whatever, but then they still continued the war after the fact. I thought, it was. Right, but
Hitler didn't surrender. I think he died.
Oh, well, yeah. So, like,
because Hitler would not surrender. It's like
no. It get to a point. He killed himself. Whatever. Yeah. But then that you would think. I thought that was after the bomb in Hiroshima. No, it was saying like that happened before even that happened, and it's like, the war's still going on. It's like, what the hell?
Why are we still carrying on?
Yeah.
When Hitler's dead, you just thought that would have been the end of it.
That's what it's all about, but no.
And I think it's just political. It gets you back up a little bit. You do feel for Oppenheimer because he doesn't deserve the backlash he's got. He wasn't the one that pressed the button on Japan. He wasn't deciding. He was making a bomb for Germany. And that, I know that changes things a lot. And the guilt and pressure he had, he didn't deserve everything he got. And I think, to be fair, he was framed a lot. People used him.
Yeah.
He never had a true friend in his entire life, I don't think. Apart from his wife, I do think Emily Blunt.
Yeah, and maybe...
Like, you just scrolling through now looking at the cast. Like, how many actors have they got in this film? It's ridiculous.
Oh. David Krumholtz, who's... Is it Isidore?
Bernard!
Yeah, I said actually after we watched it, I was like, do you recognise that guy? Obviously,
his voice was getting on my nerves the entire way through while watching it.
But I think he was like a friend of it, and obviously other people are saying like, oh, he's faithful to to America and stuff, and obviously making it seem like a communist, because that was obviously that word kind of being thrown around.
I'm not very political. I know that sounds awful.
Neither am I, to be honest. I kind of bury my head in the sand, to be quite honest.
I'll vote the Green Party because it's like, oh well, actually,
more what? I don't deal with like the conservative thing.
Yeah, just Labour. I'm just like, not one of those people
because their policies are.
And I just think it's anything to kind of my vote. At least I've voted, even if they don't win. At least I put my vote to something
else.
Because I always feel
to be honest, they're getting political in a sense, but the Green Party are normally like a cause that means more to us anyway. Really,
well, it benefits our area, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, locally, anyways.
Yeah. In a local sense, yeah. Maybe not in terms of actual parliament, but anyway, no. I digress.
But I do think the film, the dialogue, the way that it's pictured, the vibrations of the bomb,
the sound,
and especially in a cinematic kind of environment. Yes.
So in terms of a sense of going to the cinema, I'm glad I saw it at the cinema in that sense because, like I say, despite obviously the fact, obviously you know what's going to happen with the bomb when they're doing that bomb test, I was sort of had that tension of like, oh, is it going to work type of thing. Even though I know obviously it was going to work, but it's still in a good way that sort of like. That he managed to capture that sort of sense of like what's going to happen kind of thing. With I think it was that sort of the way it was portrayed.
He was a brilliant actor. It's just I just don't think it's a film for me. It wouldn't be one that I would like. That is fantastic. I'm going to go back out now and buy it and watch it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a one and done for me. I just don't think I could invest another 3 hours in it. I know that sounds awful. I just don't get the craze for it as much as I would have hoped. When you said, oh, let's go see it, I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, everyone's saying it's really good. I'll go see it. Walk into it blindly, and I'm like, wow, I'm quite overwhelmed with how much information I've been given. We also know that he's pretty much a two-timer. He cheats on his wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why didn't you just stay with the first girl you were with?
Because you sort of treated him like shit, basically. And
she did, but she kept him on his toes, and I think he's the kind of character that needed that.
Yes, see, going into it, I thought maybe this was, I obviously didn't know, like, whether, because Florence Pugh, who you might remember from that Don't Worry, Darling, the Harry Styles film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we watched. She's a very good actress, don't get me wrong. But I thought that she was like a younger version of what Emily Blunt came to be or something, because obviously there was a lot of things of, like, showing different points in time as well.
Yes.
Before we get into things like that.
And, like, I thought Robert Downey Jr.'s character was maybe Oppenheimer, older. Like,
yes.
There's a lot of different... What's actually in the present is black and white compared to what's in the future is colour.
Yeah, it's like
past.
reversed in that
and
sense. But
it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, but at some point of, like, with Florence Pugh's character, Jean, just called Jean, the use of, obviously, like, showing that he was, like, sleeping with her and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then there's that one scene that kind of took me out of it a little bit in the sense, like, that's just kind of weird. Why are they showing, like, kind of, like, sex scene in that, like, boardroom kind of things? Like, it's a bit weird.
The filming of that.
Yeah.
How they did that. Unless they'd impose them, letting them...
Yeah, a bit of that.
Because that'd be a bit cringe with everyone else watching them and them having to do that. But
obviously they've got their actors, even if that was the case. But I don't think, to be honest, I've not really seen that in a Christopher Nolan film before, so it kind of like took me at surprise in a way. But it's like, oh, okay. But obviously she's very comfortable in that. But yeah, fair play to her, I suppose. But
I would not. Yeah. I would not. No. But she's beautiful, so why not? But overall, I don't know, my experience, I felt, because sometimes they do that with films like, oh, bestseller, best movie of the year, or. And I do think, like, there's some really commendable actors in it.
Yeah, they'll be, when award season comes around, they'll probably be, if nominated, if not winners of that category. Like Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, his role in that will probably be a contender for, like,
Robert Downey Jr. for his, like,
supporting role,
lead actress, maybe Emily Blunt, I don't know.
I don't know about Einstein, but... Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But the performances are great. The length for me really drives this, and the history just...
Drags it down, yeah.
Yeah, the history side as well. I know it sounds awful, but
it wouldn't be...
Yeah. The science was interesting, like, that was interesting. The way he was teaching his students was fascinating. And it's like, oh, I'd love to have a science teacher that would have been more visual instead of, like, experimental. And I really enjoyed the first part of the film.
That kind of those visuals of like how he was thinking, I thought that was going to play a bit more like when people were talking about this, it's like sort of a spectacle in that sense. But I believe that a lot of this was actually hardly any CGI at all.
Oh, really?
So it was like purposely like sort of like a feat. Huh? No, saying that like a lot of films are like CGI heavy now.
Yeah.
Where this was all done without a lot of that. I think very sparingly. I think there was some visual content.
So you mean they did their own bombs?
Yeah, like that could be a practical effect for sure. Yeah, not like a superimposed like here's some footage of an explosion. I don't think I haven't gone into too much obviously, but like I'm thinking obviously like things like vibrations and when the room's getting a bit like thing for him and stuff like that. He's getting a bit shaky and it's going quiet and
it is intense. It is
at some parts, yeah, but it's tricky to say like this is rubbish. I applaud it for what obviously the acting that's involved in it, everybody that's involved in it, and the sort of like how it's going through the story. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like you, it's like I don't think I would be like immediately going, I want to see that again.
Which is quite weird because I know Mum wanted to see it, and you went, "Oh, don't worry, I'll probably be buying it on disc."
Yeah.
And now you're saying that after watching it, you're like, "Nah, I wouldn't really invest in it."
No, or it'd be something way down the line. I wouldn't be like, that's like day one purchase type of thing.
I would never buy it.
But I don't think it's strong enough to, because I'm like in terms of like other stuff. Like I would say, I know you haven't really seen it all the way through, but The Dark Knight is like one of my favourite Christopher Nolan films.
I feel like maybe a birthday special we could incorporate that for mine maybe because
that's like 2.5 hours. But
I can cope with long films, but
there's a good balance between action and dialogue in that film,
and I appreciate that. Like that's something I'd want.
Yeah, this is very much dialogue in the long.
The story's great, like it really is. But I just feel like once the bomb's gone off and the guilt's there, that's where it should end.
Yeah, because it does.
I think it just cuts there because the rest of it just feels a bit pointless. And just
unless
in
you
the end,
really want to know about like what's the political side of things and what the.
But the outcome is like literally neither one of them are able to be part of it anymore. They both get cut off. So does it benefit anybody? No. Does it help? You could have briefly shown that instead of doing like a investigation on Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Condense it down maybe. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was just too much, and I really like that kind of dialogue normally. It was far too much. There was too many characters. There was too much. Especially when you'd watch near enough 2 hours worth of a film. It just felt like two different things to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I just didn't gel. And also, I'm an hour and a half girl, tops film. Well,
no, it's not tops.
Minimum.
Yeah, well, yes. That's normally the case. That's what classes a feature-length film most of the time. But 2 hours...
and a half, I can cope with.
2.5 hours, yeah. Shave 30 minutes of it, maybe, I don't know, 2 hours 15, maybe.
I could just cut that down. Like, it could be 2 hours condensed. Once I'm done. Just get rid of the ending. But yeah, I would suggest anyone who is interested to go see it.
Yeah, we're not... Well, for me anyway, I wouldn't say this is like you can't, don't even bother type of thing. If you've got the time...
invest in it,
yeah, and you like Christopher Nolan films, you're in for that, the long haul of the... I want to say slow burn, but I wouldn't even say it's that really for me, because I do like my slow burn films, but this... Yeah, it's a sort of a hard sell.
It's really hard work. It is. I think it's interesting when he's like in university, he's doing his studies. I really enjoyed that part of it. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed his romance with Emily Blunt's character. I really appreciated all of that. But once we got to the part, like the bomb making and everything like that, it just seemed to be like, it's falling flat now. And I know it's going to win and people think it's amazing, but sometimes it's good to disagree. And I feel like that I heavily disagree on this.
I'm thinking like the Academy, the Oscars and stuff, they'll be like, oh, well, round of applause, well done, I know. Because they love like biopics that really like are really in depth and kind of stuff. So we'll have to see.
Well, to be fair, this Barbenheimer or whatever it...
Barbenheimer.
Yeah. I'm interested to see your comments on Barbie because I was already excited to go into Barbie.
That was mainly because of the hype with that. Well, I think we've kind of touched on most things we've got to say about it, so I think we'll kind of swiftly go to the scoring. But
because neither of us have seen this, you go first.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So this, I say, not putting in like a negative light, but like I say, majority-wise of what it has to offer, despite the length, I really think that could have been shortened.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate what's gone into it, and I somehow felt like I sort of learned a bit more of a history lesson on things. So
and the science, I guess.
Yeah. Whether I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll retain that after a while is another matter. But for performance, more so from everybody involved. So well done on everybody.
But to be fair, they did put top dogs in. It wasn't like they were half-assing with his budget. They must have had a massive budget for the casting they had.
Absolutely, yeah. And
so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will put it at 8.
Oh, okay.
Now we come to sacrifice. But anyway, I've said it as before. You go with your heart.
Everyone's going to hate me, and I'm so sorry. So, my gut wants to say it's a 5. I am only increasing it to a 6 because of Emily Blunt. Okay. And that's biased, and that's because I love her, and I think she's fantastic. And even though her character is a bit of a bitch...
At the beginning, yeah, she's like, with the kid and everything. She's
selfish, but she openly admits it, and...
But yet she stuck by him.
She did, and he cheated on her. He treated her like shit, and she stuck by him like a good wife. And her performance with an American accent, she made the film for me, personally. She really did. Robert Downey Jr., yeah, he was great too.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying about the performances from everybody involved.
But the actual enjoyment and the level of the film and the rewatch value is just not there for me. I'm really sorry. It's wasted on me. There's lots of other people who will be really enjoying history, will really enjoy these kind of aspects, and I'm just not one of those, sadly. Not saying I'm not a fan of history, I am, but I don't know, the history got me mad, and it's like, well, I don't need to be getting angry.
I know, but you can't change history. Yeah. But it's a sad reminder of the fact of what happened, but there's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. No. It's what happened, but I feel like it should have touched on a little bit more, but not to a gruesome effect.
No, really. But I think there should have been some condolence and should have been something kind of like... Yeah, and I think just the way that the Americans are, cheering and stuff, it just didn't sit with me very well. And I know that we'll have done that then, but...
Yeah.
And again, probably that's why they're putting it in, because that's what it would be.
Yeah, I know you can't alter a thing like them going like, oh, what have we done type of thing, even though this sort of where it's kind of like a handshake, like, oh, good job. But it's
you just killed loads of people.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Anyways, I just don't get the Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer, whatever this is. Barbie's just Barbie, and I feel like this is just Oppenheimer, and they should be separate. They shouldn't be, just because they're released on the same day, they have no...
They shouldn't really be together, but they are.
And you can't even compare them because they're two different things.
No, absolutely. So now we're going to talk about Barbie, obviously.
So can I just give you a bit of biased background on me?
You are a girl and you play with Barbies, yeah? Yeah,
but I played with Barbies for quite a while. I don't think I had any other doll. I always had a Barbie.
Right.
I didn't have a Brat or a Cindy doll or whatever. It was always Barbie. Uh-huh. Always.
Yeah.
I never had a Ken.
No.
No. Only had horses. I had the convertible Barbie.
In a pink convertible.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that before in another episode.
I did. I've had My Little Ponies. I've had all of that. I've very much been a girly girl when I was younger, which seems weird now, looking at me now. I know. Yeah. I played with Barbies, and people are going to be like, oh my God. Probably until I was about 12 years old. Because still when you're 12, you are a kid. I think people just don't realise that now. They're like, oh, they're mini adults. And no, that's when you're 18 or 16.
When you're 13, obviously there's a clue in the name teen.
Yeah. Bless her, my sister, I used to always want her to play with me, but then I realised she's 15 at this age, and she probably doesn't want to play with a 12-year-old me. But at the same time, I really found it hard to get rid of my Barbies. I was so attached. Right. And I've noticed that's something I've realised in my life. I do get attached to things or people very heavily.
You do, yeah.
Like we said about that teddy, that used to be a thing at school where if you were good, you'd take this teddy home called Bruno. Uh-huh. And I got to take him home for 6 weeks.
And then you didn't want to give him back at the end.
Oh, I was devastated when I had to return back to school and give him back.
We had such a good time together.
I was like, I've had 6 weeks with you. What are you meaning? It was like a breakup. It was awful. And this film, I think, just resonates well with me. I
thought it would, to be fair. Obviously, before I even knew what it was about, I knew it wasn't... Obviously, I was quite excited to go see it as well. Mainly, obviously, the marketing of it has been, like, hyped up to hell.
Massive. They've got a full album out of, like, massive stars singing songs for it. Dua Lipa's song is absolutely amazing.
That's a banger. It
is.
A proper banger.
I don't know. I feel like everything Dua Lipa does is just golden. She's just perfect. Obviously, when she first started, there were some certain songs, but now, like, her disco funk...
coming back, This future nostalgia as the album.
It's just amazing.
It's coming back, But, like, in terms of, like, seeing it everywhere, like, shops and things are just embracing it so much, and just, like,
I just feel like,
just, like...
For me, Barbie was massive when I was little. I'm a Barbie girl. Like, I remember dancing to that in the discos, like, at school, thinking it's, like, the best song ever. Barbie was big then, when I was, like, a child. And I feel like when I've grown up, Barbie somewhat as... I don't know, I don't think her presence has been there. The fact that now Barbie is back. That's what it feels like.
Stronger with social media as well on the forefront of thing. You've got that extra level now, haven't you?
Yeah.
With just like tweets and hashtags.
I went into Asda and there was merchandise for the Barbie movie. You don't get that with Oppenheimer. Atomic bomb on your top.
Well, you might do with the Barbenheimer thing because I saw somebody with a t-shirt and posters and stuff for it. But no, you don't. Nobody's going like, oh, let's have an atomic bomb in there as a toy. No.
I love the fact that near enough everybody was wearing pink in the cinema. Like, everyone was embracing it. You got a charity t-shirt.
A shirt, Just for the occasion,
Such Ken vibes.
Yeah.
You looked amazing.
Thanks. And as I say, you look nice in your pink top as well. But you don't know that you're not a pink girl, which is weirdly, because like you're saying, from when you were younger, you playing Barbies,
which obviously I actually had a pink bedroom. I just realised this, Right. I had a pink bedroom. And I had massive pink love hearts on my wall.
But you don't, like, as you've grown older, I've never really seen you like, pink's not for me.
I'm not a pinky girl.
But for this, like I said, like you said, for a lot of people, it's kind of just, people have just taken it on board and be like, yeah, whatever. It's cool to be wearing this, it's fashionable kind of thing. Like, what it
Barbie is an icon. Like, she's beautiful in whatever she wears. And
this film kind of... is about that, I sense, in a way, isn't it?
It is. And I think some people can say Barbie is like they can blame her and go, oh, well, you're the reason why I feel crap because you look perfect. I don't think it's that. I don't blame Barbie for that. Barbie never made me feel like that when I played Barbies.
No?
No. I feel like that comes from Photoshop. That comes from your movie stars and your singers looking stick thin and perfect.
There's a lot more in this, obviously, like pop stars as well. Like, that's another thing that's always been a case with things like, oh, people in the limelight and you aspire to be them and I wish I was that, oh, she's so pretty.
For example, now, I think the world is a scarier place, but actually having a child, especially a girl, being raised now is so empowering. Like, you've got Lizzo, who is featuring on this as well.
Yeah.
She's a very large lady, but she's owning it. Like, I was a big girl when I was little. I needed something like that, and there was just nothing there for me.
The idea of like a pop icon, in that sense, oh, you got to be stick thin, and you got to be like, like all the
like Britney Spears or
stuff.
Christina Aguilera. That's who I grew up with.
Yeah,
who was like perfect.
None of that back in the day, was it? It's
no,
like,
and I think that it wasn't Barbie. No. She's been there for ages, and like they say, Barbie has given women independence. It's given them. Yeah, okay, you can look beautiful and sexy and hot and everything, but you can have a brain.
You can have a career.
You can drive a car. You can do all this stuff that back in the day, I think Barbie was like created quite a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
I think, bless her, my mum couldn't have a Barbie, so she had a Cindy doll. I think Barbies were expensive. But there was a doll available for my mum to play with, and my mum's 60-odd years old. So it just shows how old Barbie... probably older, is as well. So, yes, I'm a Barbie girl.
In a Barbie world.
Maybe not in a Barbie world.
But I don't know if we go to Swallow straight away or...
First of all, we've got Margot Robbie, which I didn't realise how she's become one of my lead actors now. Like, I really enjoy her. She's absolutely stunning, perfectly set to be Barbie.
She is, as the film says, the stereotypical Barbie girl.
The only other person I could have thought, maybe, but obviously an age thing, now, is Mean Girls girl.
Lindsay Lohan?
No, the Regina George.
Oh, Rachel McAdams?
Yeah. Just because of the role when she was younger.
I don't know. I definitely could. It's hard to, obviously,
it
with all the marketing.
It depends on when the film came out. I think if earlier on, if this was released, she would have been more of a probably hit for it.
That's interesting, because you think this would have been as successful if it was, like, say, I don't know, even 5-10 years ago? No, it would have been completely different landscape, wouldn't it?
Shifted
so much in that time.
And I really value this film. Like, if I had a little girl, I would make her watch this. Like, it would be you need to watch it. And it's weird because I've heard a lot of people say this film's not child friendly.
I mean, there are some elements to it, which obviously, I don't know if parents are thinking, oh, it's Barbie, it's going to be all just like nice. But you're watching the trailers and you're thinking there's a slight edge to it.
There is, but I think for a young child, it's like putting on a Disney film with like the parts for an adult. And I think this would just go over the child's head until it needs to be like, when you're watching it when you're in your teens, I feel like this is when this film should be for a child.
Well, the film's rated, 12A in here in the UK, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think it covers body conscious. You have all different types of Barbies in Barbie world. Yeah. You don't have just perfectly stick back thin Barbies.
No, which I guess I didn't realise.
You have different colours. To be fair, I don't know if our Barbies are so diverse.
Back when you had them.
Yeah.
Because in my head, it was always just Barbie with blonde hair and that was it.
Oh, I think they were different ethnicities, but like...
Obviously, I'm not a girl who played with them, so...
Size-wise, I don't think...
Yeah. I don't know if that's the case.
But then there was a pregnant Barbie, and I remember it was disgusting because her tummy opened... And then the baby came out, and I remember seeing this advertised.
That seems really strange.
Really bizarre. But there's Mermaid Barbie.
Yeah. I remember seeing those on, like, when I was younger, even, like, obviously watching cartoons, and then the adverts came on specifically for kids, and it was, like, Barbies and all sorts of kind of things, yeah.
I didn't think I would feel how I felt with this film, but I have... It's so emotional. So if you're a really sensitive soul like I am, bring some tissues.
Don't want to bring up you having you crying on the mic, but could you like divulge into what really like triggered? Like, what was it about?
I think it's the thought of somebody who looks like Barbie not feeling good enough and us realising that actually, why am I here? Instead of what am I made for? Why am I on this planet?
Right.
I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not
you
doctor
feel
or and I think everyone's felt that, and I think that's when you kind of realise actually I can feel these ways, but so many other people feel that too, and you're not alone in it, and you don't have to be perfect. And I think that's something that's been rammed down definitely a female's throat. You need to look pretty, you need to be on time, you need to be showing that you're okay, showing that you're not. So for example, I forgot who she is. It was Margot Robbie a little bit when she was having like her tantrum as Barbie.
Yeah.
But also then this other character who is equivalent of like a mum saying, you've got to have your shit together, basically.
Yeah,
and she's off...
Ugly Betty, I think.
Ugly Betty.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. She's called America Ferrera is the actress's name.
And she was just reeling off how much of pressure sometimes being a woman actually is. And I don't know if men realise how much like we have to have our shit together.
I kind of obviously when she was going through that sort of like the like monologue type of thing and thinking, no, I can obviously as a man it's hard for me to go, yeah, true that type of thing. But I can understand like how that comes across. Women go through a lot. They have to work a hell of a lot harder in the world, the real world.
We get judged so much more as well, and I think that's the part that's so frustrating compared to a man. And it's what we're wearing. Are we pretty enough? Oh, that person, and comparing.
Yes,
and I think that's
what I loved about the
Barbie world was there were so many women rooting for one another, like, you go, Barbie. Oh, morning, Barbie.
Yeah, you look beautiful and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Women are so much more catty because we've just been put into this point where we have to compare, we have to fight, we have to be better, we have to look hotter for the guy or whatever. And I think it was just all that emotions of actually, we just need to be kind to each other. Just need to understand, yeah, actually, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
We're both going through the same crap. Like, give ourselves some credit for what we have to put up with. Because it is basically, and I know I don't want to get on my high horse, it's a sexist world, and I think this is what Barbie is showing. It's sexism,
no,
basically.
absolutely. That's exactly what Greta Gerwig is going for in this film, I think.
And it's hard, and I guess for a man to see Ken the way he's portrayed as the woman, technically, in Barbie world, is just a fantastic way of showing it. And I think that makes it more relatable because it's a guy.
Yeah.
So it's educational for women and men, I feel.
Yeah, both. That's why I say, like, I think that's how it's done in a way that's so diverse and it works on for lots of the whole generational crowd thing, not just like young kids, young girls. It's obviously for men. There's a lot of men in the cinema as well watching it as well. So it's like, you know, on all aspects it's covering.
It was like a healing process, so it felt like it took you on an emotional roller coaster of laughing, crying, being fulfilled, being empowered. You felt like you went on all of this with Barbie, and she was just like this amazing person. And it realised that you can actually do anything you want if you put your mind to it. And I think that's what this film gave you.
Yeah, the message.
And I don't know, I felt like a little bit of a healing process from it. Like, actually, yeah, the world is turning a leaf a little bit as well of having such a film like this.
I think.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a bit of a historic piece. This is going to go down in history. This is an amazing film.
For the director, yeah, probably a big staple in her movie making career, I would say, definitely.
Commendable.
Yeah.
Everything was on point.
Yeah. So, like, in terms of, I was saying about before about, like, in terms of, like, Oscar thing and awards thing, I think this will, in some categories, this will win in some regard.
I want this to be the best film. Like,
in the history of the world. I
want this to be, like, if there is a category, I don't know, with the Oscars or whatever, best movie maker or best director or best...
Oh, yeah, there's this.
Like, I want this to top Oppenheimer completely. Because the level of enjoyment from this, it was so vibrant, it was so colourful.
Obviously, it has to be, yeah.
I've got a newfound love for Ryan Gosling. Like, he's amazing throughout. He's so comical. He's just fantastic.
For me, obviously, I was speaking as a male.
Yeah.
That he's, not saying like taking away from Barbie, but the fact that he has such an involvement as well. He's not just like, just a side character just for the laughs. He has a strong, he's written strongly for the film and he has a purpose. Not just like, just a, nudging a joke kind of a thing. He's got the structure as part of everything that's going on, and it's like comic timing and just all performance throughout. He's really enjoyable. He
makes it like the comic.
Yeah.
Comedian side.
Yeah.
He makes it because without Ken, there wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's proper embracing the sort of like.
He is fully immersed in Ken. He is Ken. And when I first saw this, I'm so sorry, Ryan Gosling. I was like, really? Of all people to cast, why the hell? And now I'm like, I see it.
On point, yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah. There's some dance numbers, and there's just Ken solos where they're dancing by themselves, and well, we know he can dance because we've seen him in La La Land, but this is a whole new level of it.
Yeah, and also it's not going through it thinking, eye roll is a rubbish song. It was actually like pretty good, and they say like the choreograph and stuff, and it's like obviously I've had more of an appreciation for like musicals and stuff of recent years, but this didn't it wasn't like here we go type of thing. It was actually like really enjoyable, and it's kind of like funny at the same time in a sense, because sort of for a first watch obviously, but whether in previewings that might differ, but
I don't think it will.
But I think it's really something.
When I say about a musical, like we were on about Grease, weren't we, when we came down on this trip?
Yeah. That
you hadn't really seen it. And I said I quite enjoy Grease, but then there's certain bits, like when Sandy's singing Hopelessly Devoted to You, and I'm like, ugh.
It's a bit like, ugh.
Yeah, and I get sick of it, and I'm like, this is a bit where you want to fast through the film. I would not, at the moment, with watching what I've watched, I don't feel that way. I feel like Ken enough, he is enough, and he's just... Everyone needs a Ken in their life.
I think so.
The way that he dotes over Barbie.
Yeah, it's really humorous. Like he's really trying just to be like, just have some recognition in this, obviously female empowered world.
And I think that's funny because that's how a female
it's
feels.
like, just notice me type of thing. Where it's like
we normally blend into the crowd, and there's so many candies to pick from the candy shop. That we're like, pick me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this kind of vibe is with the Kens, and it's lovely to see it on the other foot.
Yeah. And also on the same side of things, because I guess in my head I was thinking it was just the one Ken, but...
I know.
But obviously there's, like the Barbies, there's different versions of the Ken dolls as well, like different colours and races and all that kind of stuff.
Because I always thought Ken had brown hair.
Yeah.
That's my Ken.
Yeah.
Like, if
I think so. Yeah, again, the stereotypical Ken, I think,
Like, buffing. But if Ryan Gosling's abs are real, like,
in that.
for 42-year-old, like, whew, he is... I don't really know about the bleached blonde hair, but... Yeah, he's rocking it. I have really fully embraced Barbie, and I don't really think I can say enough without spoiling it, but...
No, we can do, because we're going to... So we've got past spoiler section. But not, obviously you mean like not too much.
I don't want to spoil the whole ending. I want people to actually go on that journey and watch it and enjoy that emotion and rawness that you get from it. I just think it's... Oh, don't.
Yeah, your mileage may vary on how emotional you get. Like, so
it depends on how you are.
How much makes you feel, but yeah.
I think for me, it just made you feel empowered as a woman and grateful that this film's out there, just for younger generations to actually feel this. And I just feel like...
And witness this,
Yeah, because it is a man eats man world, and...
Obviously, that's what they kind of go into when Barbie goes into the real world. She has to go into the real world because... Obviously, this existential crisis that she's going through, because I don't know if you thought when you were watching it, you realised that the fact that it's almost like Toy Story, where they're in a world where people are actually playing with them, essentially. That's why they can just float down from the ceiling. I love
that aspect.
And obviously, like the drinking tea where there's no liquid and stuff.
It was amazing because it makes it look really... Margot Robbie did a brilliant job of like, oh, I'm drinking. Oh, yeah, my food's here, but I'm not going to eat it because I don't need to eat.
Because,
Oh, like Ken getting in, like, going, oh, I'm Beach Ken. Then going near the sea and like ricochets off it because actually it's just a wave,
It's a plastic wave.
It's not real.
Yeah.
I think that was so cleverly done, like, to make you enjoy it even more. Mm-hmm. There were certain parts where Barbie then gets to a point of where her feet go flat, and it's like the shocking part of it. Mm-hmm. And she has to go see this scary Barbie, is it?
I think so, yeah. Weird Barbie.
Yeah.
And you said, you were like, you kind of looked at me and go, all right, yeah, I can totally agree when they cut into like the real life thing where this kid's like just messing up with drawing them and cutting the hair. And
I cut my Barbie's hair. I did.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Only one Barbie got it really bad, bless her. I don't know why. I just played with her so much.
Overplayed, yeah.
And she was that weird Barbie. She had really short pixie cut hair. But I loved her.
Right.
Because she wasn't the normal... I don't really think you see a Barbie with short hair, or not when I was little.
No.
And she had like really choppy hair.
Yeah.
And I used to make her clothes. I'd cut her clothes.
Right. What you mean from what they were giving onto the doll and you just went, right, just give you a crop top type of thing or something? Right, okay.
Or shorts, like this pair of pants.
Okay.
She was like a slaggy Barbie.
That's weird.
And like if we had leftover like material or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I think my mum worked in a school and her friends had like quite a few saris and such, or like leftover fabric.
Yeah.
We would like make skirts and dresses, just tie a bobble at the back,
okay.
and make them clothes instead of buying new ones.
That's fair. Utilising what you can,
yeah. So I did have a weird Barbie, bless her. I don't know what happened to her. I think she looked a bit bedraggled and probably naked in a box somewhere and got chucked. But I did, when I saw that, it really, really... And why is it always Barbies are in a split? That is true, they are. You always just split the legs. Yeah.
Obviously the proportions, Barbies are impossible for an actual human.
It's like a Jessica Rabbit vibe, isn't it, to be fair?
Exactly. Yeah.
But she's beautiful and you love her. And
yeah. I would touch upon the fact, obviously, like, well, two things. One, obviously, it's hard to not avoid trailers and stuff.
Mhm.
So obviously, some of the jokes, like, it's like, I mean, obviously, still kind of funny. Like, do you guys think about dying? And the kind of music stops and stuff. So that was kind of like,
we knew that was coming.
And some other things, like, it's like, oh, look at my feet are flat, and they're doing that, like, thing. It's like I didn't know how, thankfully it didn't, like, with that cut of, like, from the trailer made it look like a bit like, oh, cringe humor, like just go over the top kind of thing. So I'm glad it didn't linger on that too much. And especially the fact that Will Ferrell was in the film and he wasn't too annoying.
He was the level of elf.
Yeah, he wasn't over the top like he is sometimes in his film. So I'm glad he toned down on his sort of like exaggeration of stuff.
Elf is one of my favourite Christmas films. I love Elf as a film. And Will Ferrell is the lead.
Yeah.
And this, I think he doesn't disappoint. He's like elf material here. He's not like the shitty films that he does do.
Yeah.
It's to a good standard. And I think even then you really like him. Initially he's like corporate. He's like big wig, all Barbie management. And at Mattel, I don't know what Mattel is.
It's a toy company.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've seen it everywhere and I just don't know.
Yeah, it's just one of the... I don't think they just deal with Barbies. There's a whole range of other toys.
And all the CEOs and big wigs
all
and
just
FDs, all male orientated.
Yeah.
Sausage
and suits,
fashion.
Basically, yeah.
But at the end, his character does like a really good turn, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah. I think everyone learns and grows and develops in this film, and even Ken, his outcome is great, and it's like, actually, you don't need Barbie to define you.
Ken is me, isn't it?
Ken is enough.
You're something. Yeah. Ken off. Yeah.
Ken off. And Ken is me. I'm Ken.
Yeah. That's your identity. You don't have to be.
You don't need a woman to define you, or a man. Yeah. That's probably what they're meaning. Really, exactly. To define you.
Yeah. The stereotypes of what the gender specifies. Obviously, he goes overboard when he takes over Barbie Land. He's like, oh yeah, I'm reading books when he goes to the real world about like being macho man with a Sylvester Stallone kind of thing, and that's the epitome of what. There
was even Godfather that got drip fed into here.
It's the greatest film in the entire world.
Yeah, and just say you don't know anything, and then the man will chew your ear off.
Oh, let me help you with that, your club swing and all that kind of stuff. But it's true. It is absolutely true. Like how things. So it's hitting the nail on the head of how how this is still going on in the world, and it's like, hopefully, if a lot of men go see it, it's kind of a bit of more of an eye-opener now to not just like thinking, oh, women damsel in distress, you've got to help them out, and just like treat them like they're really dumb, like, I don't know how Photoshop works. And
to be honest, I think a woman is more than capable. I think a woman is more than capable than a man, and I'm sorry. I do think that...
even I'll admit that being married and stuff, even before that you do take off on a lot more of the household chores and stuff like things like that, and I kind of do take that for granted sometimes, like with what I do, but I do appreciate, and I don't know if I express that enough, but like, and so obviously you're always like thinking ahead and like, making sure things are packed. Like, say, like, going on a trip, like, oh, got some snack, got some water, got some things that I wouldn't have thought of to, like, have, sensible things.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. Because I think women are normally taken for granted just because we've got that mother instinct and we've got that
it's
embedded in us.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of showing what this film is. I just feel like everyone should just go watch Barbie. Even if you're male, female, whatever you are. Mm-hmm. Just go watch it because it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a laugh. It
is.
It makes you think,
Yeah, it just gives you everything.
So well written, yeah.
I just can't say how much I love it. I just can't. I just feel like, without spoiling it completely, and I'm not going to, because I feel like people just need to go on that journey with that film, and I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
I do think people like, for example, my dad or your dad... I know it sounds awful. I feel like that's like that gender, and I don't want to...
You mean generation? More so.
Yeah, I don't really want to kind of specifically say like they will not get much out of it. But I feel like that's where it was more like a dominant male orientation, and I think they might find that harder for that shift.
Possibly, but...
Anything like your age and younger are going to really be all right and embrace it.
Yeah. I think that's enough to wet your whistle on going to see the film. But
just comparing the two, obviously they are different films.
Yeah. So very likely with the scores, but I will let you go first. But I have a strong inkling on
my score.
Yeah, your score. Yeah,
it's a 10. It's a solid 10. I would go and buy this now.
You go see it again. You even said that.
I would actually.
You rarely say that you go to the cinema again to go see. But
I would go. Like, I've already messaged my sister and said we need to go watch Barbie together. Like, if it stays in the cinema long enough, because obviously she lives in Liverpool, and she's away for a while on holiday.
Yeah.
Like, I would go out of my way to watch it with her. I think she would be the same as me. We both just need to bring a box of tissues, cry it out. But at the end, you feel empowered. It doesn't leave you feeling... I think I did cry twice, actually, at this film. I think it was when Margot Robbie's character was like, I just don't know what I'm doing. I just... Why am I here? What am I made for? What am I doing? And she cries initially, and you want to cry with Barbie, because it's like, Barbie doesn't cry. Barbie just has fun all the time.
Is this when she was in the real world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got me then when she was like crying her eyes out.
Okay.
And then when you've got Billie Eilish's song coming on, What Am I Made For? Which is
admittedly, that bit did kind of choke me up a little bit. Mainly when it was kind of, I guess it was showing this is a sort of spoiler, but when they showing like the footage of like just everyday people, like, you know, mother and daughter type of scenarios and that kind of thing. Those kind of things always get me. Like obviously the music is a big part of that.
Billie Eilish's soundtrack for this is spot on. Dua Lipa's is, but
a sad melancholy kind of aspect to it, and just like reflecting on, even obviously I've got kids of our own, but
I reflected on my relationship with my mum as well.
Yeah, no, I guess so. You've definitely got that more of a
and I think sometimes I don't show my mum how thankful I am, and that got me like a little bit as well, and touched upon me. Like you're saying you're grateful for me, but how often do I say I'm grateful for her and everything she does?
I think you do.
I know, but I feel like not enough. And it's just a 10.
Yeah.
And what's the song, like 10 from to get a Ken, you need to be a 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah. So for me, it is sublime. As Ken says in the film. It's not quite as high as yours, but it is a strong 9.
Woo! I'll take it. What makes it not a 10? Just out of curiosity.
I think this is very much more of a female-oriented, but I cannot fault for the screenplay and everything that's involved in it, the humour, the emotions that it's going for in the film, and everyone's performance is great. Especially, I'd say he's to me, obviously as a male thing, MVP is Ryan Gosling for the film. Really, he just does such a good job, and he just totally goes for it. Really,
he embraces Ken
he really does, and I can't fault him for that. So I don't know. I have a feeling it might go like this, as like say repeat viewing. Whether it would reach a 10 for me, maybe 9.5, but definitely as a first watch, and really enjoyed it. And I would rewatch this more than I would Oppenheimer for sure.
I'm never going to watch Oppenheimer again.
So I have to give that, for especially an enjoyment level, 9.
No, I'm happy with that, even though you gave Oppenheimer an 8. So,
but that was I say, like you say, it's two different things.
It is,
certain
I just don't feel like they should be compared. No. To be fair,
it's the Barbenheimer craze is what it is.
It's out there,
But I'm kind of glad we did it how we did it, and we got the chance to do it and put it down and documented on this.
I'm glad we went to see Oppenheimer first and not Barbie, because I would have been devastated.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so.
Yeah, Barbie left me on a high.
Yeah.
Even though she made me cry. Oh, and it was so embarrassing. But then I realised Barbie gets embarrassed too, so it's fine. But coming out of the cinema, I put mascara on, and I was like, I wasn't prepared. I was like trying to doll myself up to look like a Barbie.
Yeah.
Not think I'm going to bawl my eyes out. I have seen on like reels and stuff on Instagram, like people have gone like, oh, looking great, and then looking really emotional, or like thoughtful in thought, but not like absolutely bawling, which you will see now on our story. What the effect of Barbie.
The social post, but yeah. But no, definitely glad we did what we did,
Mm.
really, in the end of it. And yeah, but Barbie trumps Oppenheimer.
100%.
So, hope you've enjoyed our comparative thoughts on the two films. Would you say it was sort of a good experience at the end of it, really, for what we did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed talking about it, so I hope
everyone
enjoys listening to it.
Yeah, no, I really hope they do.
Oh, so, well, thank everyone for listening, but exciting news.
Yeah.
We've got more people on our Patreon.
We have, yeah.
Like 2.
2.
Yeah. 2 in a week. I think it's because it's your birthday.
Yeah, being generous.
Yeah. They're only going to do it for a month and then they're going to leave us. So, we've got as trusty faithfuls, which we will do first, and then we'll introduce as new ones.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it in turns?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be long
Yeah.
for one person to do now, because I think there's 7 in total.
Yeah.
So I'll go first.
Yep.
So we've got my mum. There we go. That one's done.
We've got Mark from 100 Things We Learned from Film.
We have Ben from Film Bloggers, who's still somewhere in the world, jetting off.
We have Nico from The Good, The Bad and The Weird podcast. We
have our friend Jonesy, who is under the handle at Weight Loss Jonesy. And if you haven't listened to the episode of our Lighthouse already, it's a long one, but it's definitely worth a listen. And he brings so much to it. So, and his voice. I didn't realise he's got such a podcast voice. And I know it sounds daft, because normally I'm talking to him and I can see his face.
Yeah.
Never had a conversation over the telephone, I guess, where it's he's just got this quite sultry voice. So now our 2 Patreons.
Brand new patrons.
Brand new. Not new to us though. We know who they are.
The friends. Good friends of ours.
Yes.
Yeah. Firstly, we have Alex Morris.
Woo! He has been on our podcast before, and I think he's hankering to come on again. Yeah, I think he is. So he's been on for Jurassic Park's number 3.
Yep.
Which was shit, but it's a really good episode. He brings such comical value.
He really does, yeah. He's a funny guy.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah. And he is under the handle Desperately Seeking username on Instagram.
He's really creative. He's writing a book. He's got so much going for him. He's funny as hell. I think he's on Twitter as well, isn't he? Does a lot on Twitter.
Yeah. Alex Mauritius or something, I forget.
He's got some really tricky names.
Yeah, it's not easy to...
And as well, I've noticed lately he's been texting me and he's like a dictionary. Walking dictionary. It's like messaging words and I'm like...
What does that mean?
Google, what's this word mean? But yeah. And lastly, and not least, we have got your very, very old friend, Gren. Oh, by the way, the last 2 people that have been patrons now are both being Paul's best man. So at the wedding.
Yep.
So also just a bit of context for you guys. So we've got Gren. He's called Christopher Gren, or Chris Gren, but his last name's Gren, and I know him as Gren, so that's what we're going to call him as. Because, I don't know, I feel like it must be a school thing, where that's what people did.
Yeah.
So, he hasn't actually been on one of our podcasts yet. I don't know if he's hankering to be coming on or not.
Yeah, I think there's probably some, sci-fi one you'd probably want to...
Can I not? Can I just leave you 2 to it? Yeah, he likes drawing. He's got quite a lot of TV, sci-fi, Doctor Who.
Yeah, he's big Star Trek.
Yeah, whatever that is. Star Wars, Star Trek. He's going to kill me. He's going to be like, Sophie. So he is on Instagram, if anyone wants to follow him. He's under the handle cgren_draw. So you can go follow him and like him there. He'll talk to anybody, so just drop him a message.
Yeah, anything about sci-fi stuff.
Or Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, it falls in the same category.
Does it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, very grateful to have other people in the family, so welcome on board.
Of course you are.
Yeah. And if you also want to join the family and get a shout out and have the opportunity to vote for what we watch once a month, you can do so by going to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers.
Yeah, can we have some more girls, please? Because I think we've only got my mum.
Bit of a sausage fest.
There it is. And I'm a bit scared. Because I know we're coming up to the Burr month soon. September, October,
Right.
every burr.
Definitely ends cold.
No, and well, I guess it does. But October month, with those three, picking a film that I have to watch, I'm just like, not until she doesn't like.
Yeah, it costs you £1 or $1.50 a month.
Yeah, and just spread the love and just join our little family. You get perks of watching films or voting for a film and us shouting your name out every week. I mean, why wouldn't you want that?
And if you enjoyed this episode, you can listen to other episodes over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from.
So if you want to leave us a 5-star review or any nice little comments or anything like that, then we would definitely appreciate it. And we are on social medias, aren't we? There's
the new Threads. That's kind of just, I think that's going to be the new Twitter, I think, because I really recently noticed it's an X now. It's no longer a blue bird. I don't know what that means, but
does that mean Twitter's died?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't really tweet.
I don't know what Elon's doing now. But... So you can follow us on Threads, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all under the handle of SP_filmviewers.
That's nice, isn't it? So they can find us everywhere under the same handle.
Yeah. Let's take that.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed. And we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.